In one of last week's videos, we did talk about the crude, and I went over both scenarios, basically the reason why we were watching this last low for, possibly a more important rally, and also the fact that we were not going to get too excited about it unless we could clear this important symmetry resistance, okay? So we had a couple of decisions going on there, and then we also have some higher decisions that we're going to watch. We don't know if we're going to get up to this resistance or not. We just know that if we do get up into that area, that we are going to anticipate that that will be resistance to the move, okay? But with that being said, I want to show you how you really want to refine entries with this work, especially if you're trading the big contracts in crude, okay? So if you remember, we talked about this symmetry resistance that needed to be cleared. And when we did clear it, over here, and you made a new high, you had taken out that resistance, there were two setups, actually, that were well worth taking. That set up after we cleared that. This was the first one, where you had the pullback after the breakout. It hit, it held, and you had a beautiful rally of $1.90. And then we just had another pullback, again, using some of the symmetry of these prior declines, plus some overlapping price retracements here. And that zone also held. And let's see, so far we've seen a rally off of this pullback decision of $1.70. Okay, now it's not always going to work this way. But guess what? You know what the risk is when you do get involved in these. When we had this pullback, and you started seeing buy triggers against it, your risk was either defined underneath this low or underneath the low end of the zone. And here with this pullback, and it started firing off buy triggers, maybe on a 5-minute chart or something, again, your risk was either defined underneath this low or underneath the zone, whichever one you are comfortable with. But that's how you can get involved in the market and not get in at ridiculous levels, like when everyone else in the world is getting excited and they're saying, wow, crude has made new highs, so I'm going to be a buyer, up here. And then you sit through a pullback like this that knocks you the heck out, instead of being patient for a pullback where the risk is extremely well defined and you have the edge. And you're not risking a ridiculous amount of money. You're not buying it up here and risking underneath here. Okay, so by going down to the lower time frame charts, you can definitely refine your entries and get this to where it's not a ridiculous amount of risk at all. Anyway, have a great weekend. See you next week.